Western Union, Los Angeles. March 15th, 1965. The clerk behind the counter watches as Dean Martin fills out the telegram form. She recognizes him immediately. Everyone in Los Angeles recognizes Dean Martin. But she doesn't say anything, doesn't ask for an autograph, just waits. Dean writes slowly, carefully, like each word costs something. To Thomas DiMarco. Thomas, Veterans Hospital, Westwood, California. The clerk notices Dean's hand hesitate over the message section. He stares at the blank space for a long moment, then writes, "Tommy, heard you're back. Heard it was rough. Come home, I'll handle everything. Call me when you're ready." Mine to Dino. He slides the form across the counter, pays in cash, doesn't wait for confirmation, just walks out. The clerk looks at the telegram, reads it, doesn't understand what it means, doesn't know who Tommy DiMarco is, doesn't know that this single telegram will change a man's life for the next 30 years. She processes it, sends it, forgets about it by the end of her shift. But Tommy DiMarco doesn't forget. Tommy is lying in a hospital bed in Westwood, 26 years old, both legs gone below the knee, lost them to a landmine outside Da Nang 3 months ago. He's been in this bed ever since. Physical therapy during the day, nightmares at night, and in between just emptiness. No family left. Parents died when he was 19. No siblings, no wife, no girlfriend. The army was his family, and now the army is done with him. Medical discharge. Thank you for your service. Here's your pension. Good luck. Tommy has no idea what he's going to do. No idea where he's going to go. No idea how he's supposed to live like this. The telegram arrives on March 16th. A nurse brings it to him. He opens it, reads it again.
Dino.
He hasn't heard that name in 8 years. Dean Martin, except back in Steubenville, Ohio, he was just Dino Crozzetti, the Italian kid whose father cut hair in the shop next to Tommy's father's grocery store. They grew up together, played stickball in the alley, got into fights with Irish kids from the north side, shared cigarettes behind the church. Dino was 2 years older, always looking out for Tommy, always making sure the younger kid didn't get in too much trouble. Then Dino left. 1937, said he was going to try singing. Everyone laughed. Said he'd be back in 6 months, broke and embarrassed. He never came back. Tommy heard about him over the years, on the radio, in the movies. Dean Martin, not Dino anymore, a star, untouchable, living in a world Tommy couldn't even imagine. They lost touch, different lives, different worlds. Tommy figured Dino forgot about him. Why wouldn't he? Tommy was nobody, just a grocery store kid who ended up in the army because he had nothing else. But this telegram says Dino didn't forget. Come home, I'll handle everything. Tommy doesn't know what that means, doesn't know what Dino can handle, but he's got nothing else, no other options, no other plans. So he calls. A woman answers, not Dino's voice. Martin residence. Hi, this is Tommy DiMarco. I got a telegram from Mr. DiMarco. Yes, Mr. Martin said you'd call. He'd like you to come to Los Angeles. There's a job waiting for you. A job? What kind of job? Security. At the studio where Mr. Martin films. It's not strenuous. Desk work mostly. Checking credentials. Managing access. Would that interest you? Tommy looks down at where his legs used to be. Security. Sitting at a desk. Checking IDs. Yeah, he can do that. Yes, that would interest me. Wonderful. Mr. Martin will arrange transportation. A car will pick you up from the hospital on Friday. Is that acceptable? Friday? Yeah, that's great. Excellent. We'll see you then. The line goes dead. Tommy sits holding the phone. This is really happening. Dean is really doing this. Friday comes. A black car pulls up outside the Veterans Hospital. The driver helps Tommy into the back seat. His prosthetics are new. He's still learning to walk with them. It's slow, painful, humiliating, but the driver doesn't rush him, doesn't look away, just helps, professional, kind. They drive to an apartment building in Burbank, not fancy, but clean, nice. The driver hands Tommy a key. Mr. Martin has arranged this apartment for you. First month is covered. After that, it'll come out of your salary, but the rent is very reasonable. Tommy takes the key, can't speak, can't process what's happening. Inside, the apartment is furnished, nothing expensive, but everything he needs: bed, table, couch, TV, kitchen stocked with basics. On the table, there's an envelope. Tommy opens it. Inside is a check, $500, and a note in Dean's handwriting. Tommy, get settled, start work Monday, studio address attached. Don't worry about anything, we take care of our own. Dino, we take care of our own. Tommy sits on the couch. For the first time since the landmine, he cries. Not from pain, from relief, from gratitude, from the overwhelming feeling of not being alone anymore. Monday morning, Tommy arrives at the studio. He's nervous, doesn't know what to expect, doesn't know if he can actually do this job. But the head of security, a man named Bill Crawford, greets him warmly, shows him his station, explains the duties. It's simple: check IDs, log entries, call escorts for visitors, sit at a desk. Exactly what the woman on the phone said. Salary is $200 a week, Bill says, paid every Friday. Benefits kick in after 90 days, medical, dental, pension after 5 years. Sound good? $200 a week. Tommy blinks. That's more than he expected. That's good money. Really good money for a desk job. Yeah, that sounds great. Good. Welcome aboard. Tommy settles into the routine. It's easy work. Boring sometimes, but easy. He sits at his station, checks IDs, waves people through. Occasionally Dean walks by. Always stops. Always says hello. How you doing, Tommy? Good, Dean. Real good. Thanks for this. You're doing great. Keep it up. That's it. Nothing elaborate. Just checking in, making sure Tommy's okay. Months pass. Tommy gets better with his prosthetics, starts feeling more confident, more capable. The job is steady. The paycheck is steady. For the first time since Vietnam, he feels like he has a life. He starts dating a woman named Linda, works in wardrobe at the studio. They meet in the commissary. She doesn't treat him like he's broken, doesn't pity him, just likes him. They get married in 1967. Dean comes to the wedding, sits in the back, doesn't make a fuss, just comes, congratulates them, leaves a card with a generous check inside. Tommy and Linda have 2 kids, a boy in 1969, a girl in 1971. Tommy buys a small house in Van Nuys. Not much, but it's his. He's got a mortgage, but he can afford it. The job pays well. Really well, actually. After 5 years, Bill Crawford gives him a raise. Now he's making $250 a week, then $300. By 1975, he's making $400 a week. For a security guard job, Tommy doesn't question it. Figures he's good at his job. Figures he's been there long enough to earn raises. Figures that's just how it works. He doesn't know the truth. The truth is in Dean Martin's personal files. The truth is in checks written from Dean's personal account. Checks that go to the studio every single week. Checks that cover the difference between what a security guard should make and what Tommy actually makes. Bill Crawford knows. He's known from the beginning. Dean called him in 1965, before Tommy even started. Bill, I've got a guy coming in. Tommy DiMarco. He's going to work security. I need you to pay him $200 a week. Dean, security guards make $80 a week, sometimes $100 if they've been here a while. I know, I'll cover the difference. Direct deposit from my account to the studio, every week. Just make sure Tommy gets his paycheck. And Bill, he can never know. Never know what? That I'm paying most of his salary. As far as he's concerned, that's what security guards make. Can you do that? Bill paused, then nodded. Yeah, I can do that. For 30 years, Bill Crawford does exactly that. Every week, Dean's accountant sends a check to the studio. Every week, Tommy gets his paycheck, never knowing that 80% of it comes from Dean Martin's personal account. And it's not just the salary. In 1970, Tommy's son needs surgery. Heart condition. Expensive. The studio insurance covers some, but not all. Tommy's looking at $10,000 out of pocket, money he doesn't have. He's in Bill Crawford's office, stressed, terrified. I don't know what to do. I can't afford this, but my son needs this surgery. Bill listens, then says, let me make a call. He calls Dean's accountant. 20 minutes later, he comes back. Tommy, there's a fund for studio employees in medical crisis. It's going to cover the surgery, all of it. What? What fund? I've never heard of. It's discretionary, not widely advertised, but you qualify. Your son's surgery is covered. Tommy breaks down crying. Thank you so much. The fund doesn't exist. Dean paid the $10,000 directly to the hospital, under a fake fund name so Tommy wouldn't know. In 1975, Tommy wants to buy the house he's been renting. It's $50,000. He's saved 15, needs 35 more, goes to the bank for a mortgage, gets approved. But what Tommy doesn't know is Dean paid $20,000 toward the down payment, anonymously, through a shell corporation. So Tommy's mortgage is $15,000 instead of $35,000. His monthly payments are manageable. He thinks he got a great deal. He didn't. Dean gave him a great deal. 1978, Tommy's daughter wants to go to college. UCLA. Expensive. Tommy and Linda have saved some, but not enough. Tommy's filling out financial aid forms when he gets a call. Mr. DiMarco, this is UCLA Financial Aid. We're pleased to inform you that your daughter has been awarded a full scholarship. Tuition, books, housing, everything covered. A scholarship. She applied for scholarships, but we haven't heard anything. This is a new scholarship, the Crossetti Foundation Scholarship, for children of studio employees. Your daughter qualifies. The Crossetti Foundation doesn't exist. It's Dean, again, paying for Tommy's daughter to go to college. $70,000 over 4 years, anonymously. Same thing. Tommy's son goes to college, same scholarship. Another $70,000 from Dean. Tommy never knows, never suspects, just thinks he's lucky, thinks the studio takes care of people, thinks that's how the world works. But Bill Crawford knows, Dean's accountant knows, and they never say a word, because Dean made them promise. Tommy can never know. If he knows it's charity, he'll refuse it. He'll feel like he owes me. I don't want him to owe me anything. I just want him to have a life. That's all. Just a life. The years pass. Tommy works his security job, raises his kids, lives his modest, happy life, never knowing that Dean Martin is financing most of it. They see each other occasionally. Dean still films at the studio sometimes, always stops to say hello. How's Linda? Good. Real good. Pub. Kids? Great. Sarah's graduating this year. Tommy Jr.'s doing great at USC. That's wonderful. You've done good, Tommy. Real good. Thanks, Dean, and thank you for the job. It changed my life. Dean smiles. That sleepy half-smile. You earned it. You've been a good employee. That's all he ever says. Never hints at the truth. Never mentions the money. Never asks for gratitude beyond what Tommy already gives freely. In 1987, Dean's son, Dean Paul, dies. Tommy hears about it, sends a card, a simple card. Dean, sorry for your loss. You gave me a life when I had nothing. I wish I could give you something back. Tommy, Dean keeps that card, puts it in his desk drawer, reads it sometimes. When the grief is too heavy, Tommy gave him something back. Tommy gave him purpose. Gave him a way to be decent when he couldn't be decent to his own children. Gave him a way to do something right when so much felt wrong. Dean never tells him that. December 25th, 1995. Dean Martin dies. Tommy hears the news on TV. He's 76 now, retired, living in the same house in Van Nuys. Linda beside him on the couch. Dean Martin dead at 78. Tommy cries. Linda holds his hand. He gave you that job, she says softly. He gave me everything, Tommy whispers. 2 weeks later, Tommy gets a call from a lawyer. Mr. DiMarco, this is Robert Kellerman. I'm the executor of Dean Martin's estate. There's a matter we need to discuss. Can you come to my office? Tommy is confused. Why? I'm not in the will, I'm nobody. Just an old friend. Please, Mr. DiMarco, it's important. Tommy goes, sits in the lawyer's office, nervous, doesn't understand what's happening. Robert Kellerman opens a file, slides papers across the desk. Mr. DiMarco, were you aware that your salary at the studio was paid partially by Mr. Martin? What? No, I worked security. That's what security guards make. No, sir. Security guards at that studio make approximately $100 to $120 per week. You were making $400. The difference came from Mr. Martin's personal account. Every week, for 30 years. Tommy stares at the papers, can't process this. What? Mr. Martin paid the difference. Approximately $15,000 per year. For 30 years. That's $450,000 from his personal account. So you could have a living wage. Tommy's hands are shaking. No, that can't be right. Why would he? There's more. Kellerman slides another document. Your son's heart surgery in 1970, $10,000. Mr. Martin paid it. Another document. Your house down payment in 1975, $20,000. Mr. Martin paid it. Another. Your daughter's college scholarship, $70,000. Mr. Martin paid it. Another. Your son's college scholarship, $70,000. Mr. Martin paid it. Kellerman keeps sliding papers, keeps listing things. Mortgage payments when Tommy was between jobs, car repairs, medical bills, Christmas bonuses that Tommy thought came from the studio. 30 years of expenses, covered, quietly, anonymously. Total amount Mr. Martin spent on your family over 30 years, approximately $900,000. Tommy can't breathe. $900,000. Dean paid $900,000 for 30 years and never said a word. Why? Tommy whispers. Why would he do that? Kellerman pulls out one more document. A letter, in Dean's handwriting. He asked me to give you this, if you ever found out. Tommy takes the letter, hands shaking so badly he can barely hold it, opens it, reads. Tommy, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And you finally know. I'm sorry I never told you. I'm sorry I lied. But I knew you'd refuse if you knew it was me. You're too proud, too decent, just like your father was, just like you've always been. You asked me once why I did all this, why I gave you the job, why I helped. The truth is simple. You needed help, and I could help. That's all. No big reason. No grand philosophy. You were my friend. You were in trouble. I had money, so I helped. I never wanted you to feel like you owed me. I never wanted you to feel like charity. I wanted you to have a life, a real life, with dignity, with pride, with the feeling that you earned it, because you did earn it. You worked hard. You raised good kids. You were a good husband, a good father, a good man. That's what you earned. The money just made it possible. I never told you because I didn't want thanks. I didn't want gratitude. I just wanted you to be okay. And you were. For 30 years, you were okay. That's all I ever wanted. You gave me something too, Tommy. You gave me a way to be decent, a way to do something right. I wasn't always good to my own family. I missed birthdays. I missed moments. I chose work over people. But with you, I got it right. With you, I showed up. Even if you didn't know it. Thank you for letting me help. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being proof that sometimes doing the right thing is enough. You don't owe me anything. You never did. But if you want to do something for me, do this. Be happy. Enjoy your life. Love your family. And if you ever see someone who needs help, help them. Quietly, without asking for thanks. Just help. That's all. That's everything. Your friend always, Dino. Tommy finishes reading, lowers the letter, and breaks, completely, sobs that shake his entire body. 30 years of thinking he was self-sufficient. 30 years of pride in his modest success. And all of it was Dean, quietly, anonymously, without ever asking for anything back. Linda holds him, reads the letter over his shoulder, cries with him. Robert Kellerman waits, lets them process, finally speaks. There's one more thing. Mr. Martin left instructions. Your pension from the studio. It was never real. The studio doesn't offer pensions to security guards. Mr. Martin set up a trust. It's been paying your pension for the last 20 years. The trust will continue to pay until you pass, and then it transfers to your children. He wanted to make sure you were taken care of, always. Tommy looks up. He's been gone 2 weeks, and he's still taking care of me? Yes, sir. That was Mr. Martin's wish. Tommy and Linda drive home in silence, both processing, both overwhelmed. At home, Tommy sits at his kitchen table, The table he bought in 1975, with money he thought he saved. Money that was actually Dean's. He looks around, the house, the car in the driveway, the photos of his kids graduating college, his granddaughter's birthday present sitting wrapped in the corner. Everything, all of it, Dean. Linda sits beside him. What are you going to tell people? Tommy thinks, nothing. What's there to tell? Dean didn't want credit. He didn't want thanks. He just wanted me to have a life. So I had a life. That's what I'll tell people. I had a good life, and my friend made it possible. Will you tell the kids? Someday, when they're older, when they can understand what it means. Not the money, the kindness, the silence, the fact that for 30 years someone cared enough to help without ever asking for recognition. Linda nods. He was a good man. Yeah, Tommy whispers, he was. January 3rd, 1996, Dean Martin's funeral. Tommy is there, in a dark suit, standing in the back. He doesn't belong with the celebrities, the famous people. He's just an old security guard, a nobody. But after the service, Dean's daughter Dana finds him. You're Tommy DiMarco. Yes. My father wrote about you. In his journals, he said you were one of the reasons he kept going, one of the things he did right. Tommy's eyes fill. He did everything right. For me, for my family, everything. He never wanted you to know. I know, but I'm glad I know now, because I can tell you, he saved my life. Not just with money, with dignity, with kindness, with the gift of letting me believe I did it myself. That's the greatest gift, not the help, the belief that I earned it. Delonia hugs him. This stranger, this man her father helped for 30 years without ever mentioning. Tommy goes to the casket, looks at Dean's face, peaceful, finally at rest. He doesn't say anything out loud, but in his head he says everything. Thank you for the telegram. Thank you for the job. Thank you for the salary. Thank you for my son's surgery. Thank you for my house. Thank you for my kids' education. Thank you for 30 years of quiet, unacknowledged, selfless help. Thank you for letting me believe I was strong enough to do it myself. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being proof that goodness exists. Thank you for never asking for thanks. He places something on the casket, a piece of paper, folded. It's the telegram from 1965. Tommy, heard you're back, heard it was rough. Come home, I'll handle everything. Minus Dino, and below it Tommy has written in pen. You handled everything, for 30 years. I never knew. But I know now. Thank you for my life. Thank you for my dignity. Thank you for never telling me. Thank you for everything. Tommy. The funeral ends, people leave. Tommy stays until the cemetery workers tell him he has to go. He walks to his car. Linda waiting. They drive home. That night, Tommy writes a letter to his children. He tells them everything. The salary, the surgery, the house, the scholarships, all of it. 30 years of Dean Martin quietly funding their lives. He ends the letter. Dean Martin gave us everything, but the greatest gift wasn't the money. It was the secret. He let me believe I was capable. He let me believe I earned my life. He let me have pride. That's the gift, not charity, dignity. If you ever have the chance to help someone, help them the way Dean helped us, quietly, without recognition, without making them feel small. Help them the way that lets them stay proud. That's the lesson. That's what matters. Tommy lives 15 more years, dies in 2010 at 91, surrounded by his children and grandchildren, in the house Dean helped him buy, with the pension Dean set up, living the life Dean made possible. At Tommy's funeral, his son reads the letter Tommy wrote in 1996 about Dean, about the 30 years, about the dignity, and afterward, Tommy's granddaughter asks her father, did great-grandpa Tommy ever pay him back? Tommy's son smiles. He did. Not with money. Great-grandpa Tommy lived a good life, raised a good family, was a good man. That was the payment. That's what Dean wanted. Not money back, not thanks, just for Tommy to live, really live, with pride, with dignity, with the belief that he earned it. That was the payment, but he didn't earn it. Dean gave it to him. No, Tommy's son says. Dean gave him a chance. Tommy earned everything else, the good marriage, the good kids, the good life. Dean just made it possible. But Tommy did the living. That's what Dean wanted. That's what Tommy gave him. The grave marker for Tommy DiMarco reads, Thomas DiMarco, 1944-2010, loving husband, father, grandfather, security guard. Friend, just that. Security guard. The job Dean gave him. The identity Dean helped him build. The life Dean made possible. No mention of Dean. No mention of the money. No mention of the 30 years of secret help, because that's what Dean wanted. No credit, no recognition. Just a man living his life, believing he earned it, proud of what he built. And Tommy gave Dean that gift. For 30 years, Tommy was proud. Tommy believed. Tommy lived with dignity. That was the exchange. Not money for gratitude, but help for dignity, support for pride, love for life. Dean Martin spent $900,000 over 30 years to give Tommy DiMarco a life. And Tommy spent 30 years living that life fully, proudly, never knowing he was being carried. That's the greatest act of charity. Not giving, but giving invisibly. So the recipient never feels like a recipient, just feels like a person. Living, earning, succeeding. Dean Martin understood that better than almost anyone. The telegram from 1965 said, I'll handle everything. For 30 years, he did, and nobody knew. Nobody except the people who had to know, the accountant, the lawyer, the security chief, and finally, at the end, Tommy, who learned that his whole life, his house, his children's education, his medical care, his pension, his dignity, all of it was built on one man's silent, unwavering, unacknowledged generosity. Come home, I'll handle everything. He did, for 30 years, in silence, in secret, in the most profound act of kindness, letting someone believe they're strong enough to save themselves, while quietly making sure they survive. That's not charity, that's love. And Dean Martin loved his friend Tommy enough to help him for 30 years without ever letting him know. That's the story, not of a star helping a veteran, but of Dino helping Tommy. Two kids from Steubenville, Ohio. One who became famous, one who became forgotten, and the famous one never forgetting, never abandoning, never asking for credit, just helping for 3 decades in silence. That's Dean Martin. Not the cool performer, not the Rat Pack legend, but the man who wrote a telegram in 1965 and kept his promise until he died in 1995. I'll handle everything. He did everything for 30 years. And Tommy never knew until it was too late to say thank you face to face. But maybe that was the point. Maybe Dean didn't want thanks. Maybe he wanted Tommy to just live fully, proudly, freely, and Tommy did. Because Dean handled everything in silence, in secret, in the most beautiful way possible. That's the story of the forgotten telegram and the 30 years of quiet grace that followed.